Arabian Sea, February 3, 2026. Only a few hours remain before negotiations that could prevent or trigger a large-scale regional war. In an environment where every movement is monitored by satellites, radars, and command centers, an Iranian drone crosses the sky toward a U.S. nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln. It does not approach passively. It executes aggressive maneuvers, ignores warnings to disengage, and continues on a direct course, testing limits. In military operations, this kind of action is not a mistake, it is a message. The U.S. response comes within seconds. An F-35C fighter jet launches from the deck, closes in rapidly, locks onto the target, and fires a missile. The drone is destroyed before completing its trajectory. To the outside observer, this might appear to be the most tense moment of the day, a direct confrontation, a show of force, a clear warning. But in reality, this episode was only the first piece of a much larger, carefully calculated move that would unfold hours later at one of the most sensitive points on the planet. A few hours later, in the Strait of Hormuz, the situation reaches an even more dangerous level. 6 Iranian fast attack boats, armed with heavy machine guns, surround an American vessel, the Standoff Imperative. Above them, a Mohajer drone hovers silently, transmitting real-time coordinates to naval units and command centers. The location was not chosen by chance. Approximately 21% of all the world's oil passes through that strait, making it one of the most strategic maritime routes in the global economy. Any incident there has the potential to ignite an international energy crisis. Over the radio, a short direct order is transmitted in English. Shut down your engines. Prepare to be boarded. The ship's captain, with decades of experience in those waters, watches the radar and understands that this is not mere routine intimidation. The boats move in coordinated formation, with a clear intent to encircle. He has seconds to decide, knowing that any choice could carry historic consequences. The decision taken surprises even seasoned military analysts. Instead of stopping, the captain does exactly the opposite. He accelerates, pushing the engines to the maximum a fully loaded tanker can withstand, and maintains course along the international shipping lane. The Iranian boats continue to close in. The threat is real, concrete, immediate. In previous situations, this type of Iranian maneuver had worked against unarmed commercial vessels, forcing retreats and creating powerful propaganda images. But on that day, something changes the game. The U.S. destroyer USS McFall cuts through the water and physically positions itself between the boats and the tanker. It does not fire. It does not launch missiles. It does not open fire. It simply places itself there as a steel shield, making it clear that any further advance would mean direct confrontation with a warship. At the same time, American fighter jets take full control of the airspace over the strait. In seconds, the psychological balance shifts. Iranian commanders realize they are no longer dealing with a vulnerable target. They are now facing an organized, superior military force, ready to respond. The choice is simple and brutal: retreat or initiate a suicidal confrontation. The boats slow down, alter course, and withdraw. The Standoff Imperative continues safely on its way. No shots are fired, no lives are lost, no ammunition is expended. Military experts classify this action as a brilliant response because it neutralizes the threat without giving Iran what it most wanted: an international incident caught on camera, with explosions, casualties, and global headlines. Instead, the intimidation attempt fails publicly, a strategic humiliation. But one question lingers, echoing through intelligence rooms around the world. Why is Iran doing this now? Precisely as decisive negotiations are about to begin. To understand this behavior, it is necessary to go back 8 months, to June 2025, when the Middle East was shaken by a conflict that shattered decades of fragile balance. The 12-day war. For a long time, there had been an unwritten rule. Israel and the United States avoided direct, large-scale attacks inside Iranian territory. There were sabotages, indirect strikes, covert operations, and targeted assassinations, but never massive bombardments. That rule was broken in the early hours of June 13, 2025, when Israel launched the operation known as Rising Lion. More than 200 jets took off in successive waves, striking Iranian nuclear facilities, military bases, and missile depots. Infiltrated agents disabled air defense systems, while drones destroyed critical infrastructure. By dawn, dozens of central figures from Iran's military and scientific establishment were dead. The impact was devastating. Iran's nuclear program, built over decades with colossal investment, was severely compromised. Iran responded with force, launching more than 550 ballistic missiles at Israel. Some penetrated defenses and struck urban areas, while most were intercepted by defensive systems with American support. For 12 days, both sides exchanged attacks, until, on June 22, the United States entered the conflict directly. B-2 bombers struck deeply buried nuclear facilities in Natanz, Fordo, and Isfahan, using munitions capable of penetrating meters of reinforced concrete. It was the first time in decades that American forces had directly attacked Iranian soil. Iran retaliated with missiles against the U.S. Al-Udeid air base in Qatar. Shortly thereafter, a mediated ceasefire officially ended the war but left deep scars. Iran emerged from the conflict economically weakened, militarily exposed, and psychologically shaken. Damaged energy infrastructure caused constant blackouts, factories shut down, commerce collapsed, and inflation soared. In January 2026, mass protests filled the streets. The regime's response was violent, with thousands killed and widespread arrests. In this context, Donald Trump alternated his rhetoric between threats of military intervention and offers of diplomatic negotiations. The stated objective became a new nuclear agreement. It is precisely at this point that Iranian provocations begin to make sense. They are not random, they are tests of limits. Iran wants to find out how far the United States is willing to go before sitting down at the table. A drone shot down. Boats forced to retreat. Each reaction is analyzed, measured, and recorded. Negotiations will be led on the American side by Steve Witkoff, a name that breaks from traditional diplomatic norms. He is not an arms control specialist, but was chosen for treating geopolitics like a business based on pressure, bargaining, and calculated concessions. On the other side, Iranian representatives face an existential dilemma. The central issue is uranium enrichment and the existing stockpile at high levels, along with the ballistic missile program, viewed in Tehran as its primary guarantee of survival. For Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, giving up these capabilities under military pressure would be an admission of weakness, potentially fatal for a regime already under internal strain. For the United States and Israel, allowing any loophole means accepting a permanent threat. While diplomats prepare for decisive talks, the American military machine continues to move. The USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Group remains in the region, accompanied by destroyers, fighter squadrons, and missile defense systems being positioned across the Gulf. This show of force serves to clear purposes. First, it dramatically increases bargaining power at the negotiating table. Second, it ensures that if diplomacy fails, military capability is already in place. The episode in the Strait of Hormuz bought time for talks, time for decisions. But that time is short. Negotiations will not unfold over weeks, but over hours. An agreement could redefine the balance of the Middle East. A deadlock could open the door to years of conflict. And a single mistake could trigger the most destructive war the region has seen in decades. The test has already been made. The next move may not allow for silent retreats.